Welcome back to J-Dog Has a Truck. We are doing some very important works here.
Oh my gosh. Welcome back. It's been a while since I've done a Power Wagon video. Nothing's wrong. I'm not dead. Just been busy doing other things, going through another wonderful Midwest winter. But like I said, doing other things. So I'll show you a few things that I have been working on the truck, and hope to get you up to date. Okay, it's time for this job. It's winter time here, so I've taken the speedometer out because it died, and I'm going to take the other gauges out, send everything to a company in California for restoration. However, I don't want to drive it with no gauges, so what I've done is purchase this generic gauges kit, voltage, temp, and oil is the most important things. However, we're going to have to do some adaptation. This is going to go into the oil, the high pressure oil galley. That's not going to fit. And this is going to right there where the old temperature sensor is, and that won't quite fit either, so I've got to take things apart and make some adapter fittings. So that's why I'm draining the antifreeze again. Okay, step 2 in this process of installing temporary gauges, and of course nothing fits. So this is the oil pressure sender, which I guess ideally it should go right up against the block. There is no room down there. So this is what I came up with. I went to Friendly Neighborhood Napa and got this brass adapter and piece of steel brake line hose or whatever. you know, I may put a bend on this, but in theory, if you had the room, this would go right up against the block. The threads are correct. There's a couple of different places that could go. To the sending for the oil filter. There's a high pressure line in the block that goes along, and there's also a plug behind here. So any of those would work. However, you can't get to them. So this is what I have chosen to, since it's only going to be temporary, that's the way I'm going to do that. Now, for the water temperature, I got a piece of brass fitting that goes between this and this is what the gauge kit gave you. It doesn't really extend far enough in the head, so our water temperature may be way off. I could try taking this out and adapting it. However, that has been there probably since the truck was built. Not really willing to take that out right now. And again, it's temporary, so that's how I think I'm going to roll with this. Okay, this is a leak check. First off back off the head. We're going to get that sensor that is not oil. Pressure tender. Removed the old gauges and installed the temporary gauges. So now, yeah, I'm going to have to do a lot of sanding and cleaning on this. I'm gonna miss the old stenciled on from the Army speed limit notification. On the right hand side is the tire pressure, but yeah, this is kind of nasty looking. So if I'm gonna have new gauges in there, yeah, let's make it look as pretty as we can. Okay, here's how my dashboard restoration is going, so to speak. Behind here, there are, well, there's 3 on this side, and then there's 2 for the speedometer, but there's studs, little screws. And of course, you know, if they're rusted, you're gonna eventually break something off. And I'm sure there's more than one way to skin a cat, but in this case, I have measured carefully exactly where that is, drilled through, and put another screw through there. And what I'm gonna do is spot weld that. Use a touch of Bondo if I need to. This has got enough issues that, you know, I'm not freaking out about ruining a virgin perfect condition dash, because it's not. There's some rust pits that I'm going to have to dig out really good before I start painting. But there's one here and one over there. The one over there, I didn't have to replace the screw, but it had broken loose inside. Basically, they fold this metal over and make a flap, and that's how they make this. So, you know, if the dash was out, maybe you could do it a different way by unfolding this and then fixing it that way. But this is about the only way to do it with the dash in the truck. So I will continue on this restoration process. Perfect. Not so perfect. Couldn't see what I was doing, but it was effective finally. Okay, here's a miscellaneous maintenance, repair, whatever. So when I installed this, I just put one bolt, and it basically screws into the body of the alternator. Well, that worked itself loose riding on my trails. And the belt came loose, wore a big spot on it, so I had to replace the belt. And by the way, I got home just fine. I didn't care. But what I've done is put a longer bolt and then a nylon locking nut on the back side of it. And hopefully that will take care of that issue. So, got steel cable on here, didn't videotape it, there's no big secret to do it. That's not as straight as I would like. But now the tricky part. This end of the cable has to go in there. So, let's see if we can get this done. So, cable goes in here and gets crushed against this thing as you twist it down. This is a used one, so I don't know how easy this is going to be. What I have done, I have started to take the tape off. That the cable already in there. Let's see if it's a totally possible thing. Oh, looky there. It's definitely not easy. Nope. Nope. Alright, let's try this again. There's a rat tail file on there, and cheated and put a little bit of grease on it. Oh yes, oh yes, that's exactly where I wanted it. Now, never having done this before, figuring this out my own. So we've got that plenty of room there. Looks like I'll probably have to spread that apart some. Oh, forgive me for not filming the whole process, but this is pretty grueling. So essentially, once you get that plug in the end of the cable, which is a pain in the butt, you just have to pound it in just a little bit, then get it started threading, and then tighten it as tight as you can get it with pipe wrenches. And hopefully that'll be secure, and if not, then I guess I made a mistake. Hopefully that's going to be tight enough. I guess we'll find out. Finally, proper brand new steel rope cable, and not brand new, but original vintage chain and hook. Yippee. Courtesy of Vintage Power Wagons. All right, do we remember this at all? This is the original door panel when I got the truck, which has the old lock cylinder in it. I left that, kept everything together. I got a new lock cylinder. This has to be removed. We got to figure out how this is all going to come apart here. So it looks like there is a set screw right in here, and with some PB Blaster and some heat, it came out pretty well. This more or less just drops out, but this looks like it was spot welded to the door panel. It's going to be kind of tricky. I'm not sure quite what I'm going to do. I think I'll probably take measurements just to make sure with it on here, and then just cut it off. All right, so I had to rip this off. So I'll clean this up, straighten it out, and we will be using it. Okay, I have salvaged this from the old door piece, and I'm going to paint it. I've cleaned it up pretty good. Paint it, and because I should have done this when I was putting the new skin on. That's supposed to be spot welded on there. I think JB Weld is going to be what I'm going to use. Make sure you measure this distance and this distance and all that. But that's where I'm going to start drilling the hole and getting my step drill and drill that down so the lock will fit in there. The new door lock, that shaft is way too long, so basically you got to cut it about the same length as the door latch square piece. Okay, so using a step drill, go down to the biggest size, 3/4 inch, and just dress it with a rat tile file just a little bit. Now, when you get that done, there's a little tit that will be located at the bottom. So that'd be your last thing that you want to put in there. Make sure it's positioned properly. Okay. So there we have it with a little slot in there. And she fits flush. Got to clean it up just a little bit. Yeah, I was never finished with this door to begin with, so we'll make it look a little bit prettier. All right, so I finally got everything back together. Well, I don't have the window in yet, but the latch and lock mechanism is installed. Had to fiddle around with this and fiddle around with that to make these fit in quite right. I made a mistake when I put this skin on. It didn't quite line up with this, but just a tiny little finagling. A tip on this, when you slide it in, there's a square. I can't show you, it's inside the door. There's a square square rod, and you want to put it in so that the key is up like that. That way, this direction will lock the door, and this direction will unlock the door. Because if you put it in wrong, you'll be able to lock it but not unlock it. Brand new stainless steel screws. They're not exactly like the original, but pretty darn close. And I only had 2 of the original. These 2 are all screwed up, horrible. Again, this truck is not perfect. I do have a better door handle to put on here when and if I really paint it, but this is serviceable for my wants and needs right now, so that's what I did. If you want to refer to a previous video, I showed you how to get this piece in and out, basically. It is tricky. You'll end up doing it probably 4 times before you get it right, before everything comes together to where it works correctly. But yeah, and there's pieces behind here and a piece behind here that were spot welded. Well, I didn't do that when I put this skin on. So I JB welded it. They're held on, well, these are held on by the screws, and there's a set screw for this right there. So as long as you get all that in there, then it shouldn't go anyplace and it should be fine. So that's that. Time to get the window glass and everything else back in. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up this video now because I've been piddling around and not finishing very much. Obviously, this is not finished. I've been working on sanding and getting all the old paint and crap off. I showed you too that there are some pits in there, rust pits. That's going to be hard to get everything perfect. So what I've done is use some of this stuff. I sprayed down the whole thing, and then I will sand again. I was using whatever it is, P50 pretty rough sandpaper to strip it down. I will go with smaller grit to get this off and get everything smoothed out and finally get some paint on it. But that's not going to be in this video. That's long, boring, horrible, nasty job. But anyway, that's where we're at. So see you next time.